After a long time, I have finally gathered enough energy to embark on a new venture in fish keeping. In today's video, I'll be discussing my new planted tank setup, including its hardscape and plants. Let's start with the tank itself. This is my trusty old acrylic tank, measuring 36 inches in length and 18 inches in both height and width, giving it an overall volume of 50 gallons. I have been using this tank for about 5 years, and you might recognize it from my earlier YouTube videos where it featured in various setups. This tank has been specially designed to prevent small fish from jumping out. To achieve this, it includes Euro bracing, which effectively creates a 3-inch barrier around the tank's perimeter. This barrier is usually sufficient to keep small fish measuring 1 inch or less from escaping. However, for larger fish around 3 inches or more, this method may not be effective. Now moving on to lighting. I'm using 3 Nicro LED lights which have been reliable for past 4.5 years. They have performed admirably well and I plan to use them for a few more years. Since this will be an epiphyte only planted tank, there is no need for high-end lights like ADA Solar RGB or Chihiro's WRGB. As for CO2, my tank will feature pressurized CO2 injection. As usual, I strongly advocate using CO2 for faster plant growth and a lush, vibrant appearance. Both my lights and CO2 system are connected to Casa Wi-Fi timers, and I plan to run them for 8 hours daily. When it comes to filtration, nothing beats EHIME. For this setup, I'll be using an EHIME 2215 canister filter filled with biomedia, which has always been my go-to for effective filtration. Finally, let's talk about the hardscape. As you can see, I have opted for a simple structure using rocks and wood. The larger pieces of wood are secured to rocks with zip ties, while the smaller pieces are glued to rock using super glue. This ensures the structure is stable and minimizes the chances of wood floating to the surface once the tank is filled with water. Let me quickly demonstrate how I attach rocks and wood together. First, I tear a piece of paper towel and compress it into a small pulp. Then I place the pulp into the joint between the wood and rock. Next, I apply generous amount of super glue directly onto the paper pulp in the joint. Within a few minutes, the pulp hardens into a rock solid bond, securely holding the wood and rock in place. I have used this technique to secure my entire aquascape. However, for larger pieces of wood, I took extra precautions by fastening them to rocks with zip ties. Since this will be an epiphyte dominated aquascape, I'm starting without any substrate. Later, I'll add decorative sand to enhance the overall aesthetic. Aquascaping supplies in America can be quite expensive, so I made cost effective choices wherever possible. Most of the plants are either wedged into crevices or placed strategically between the rocks and wood. A few have been zip tied to ensure they stay firmly in place. The list of the plants I have used will be displayed on the screen. After filling up the tank, the aquascape is ready for CO2, fertilizer, and lighting. During the first 2 4 weeks, I'll closely monitor the plant's growth and make adjustments as needed. I typically wait 1 to 2 months before adding fish to tank. While this might seem excessive, it allows the plant to establish and thrive before introducing livestock. As always, I'll document every step of this aquascape's maintenance, and I hope to inspire you to join me on this journey. Stay tuned to see how this tank matures over time. I'll see you in next video. Until then, goodbye and stay safe.